Donna, I know when I first visited with you, I saw a leaf that you won a top award in a hosta convention. That leaf is long gone, but its twin is lying on the ground over here in front of us. I want you to start us in the process of maybe choosing that leaf.
Okay.
What to look
All
for,
right.
what works, what doesn't work.
Well, it all has to do with what leaf you like, what you have available in your garden. You can even go to your friends' gardens and borrow leaves.
Okay.
The main thing is to decide which size of leaf you'd like. What you also need is a leaf that shows really strong definition in terms of the veination in the leaf.
As beautiful as this is, the beauty doesn't do it.
The beauty doesn't do it. You're going to cast this in concrete, so it's going to come out just a plain gray color like dried concrete will. So all of this beautiful coloration and variegation in this leaf won't show up at all. Yeah. The reason this leaf is really not such a good candidate is because the veining in this leaf, as you can see, is pretty shallow.
Yes, it is. Now, from the other side, it's even smooth.
Well, on the other side, it's absolutely smooth,
So
except
it
for the
wouldn't
main
work
vein
either.
in the center. So, no, this leaf would not work. It's a beautiful leaf, and you probably love it an awful lot. But as far as for this particular project, wouldn't be a good candidate
Put it
at
in
all.
a flower, base of water, okay?
That would work.
Now, I found another little leaf when I was shopping in your garden.
Okay.
Now, this is a leaf from a perennial begonia.
It is.
It's also an asymmetric type leaf where the bend and where the stem comes into the leaf, it's not centered like our hostas are.
That's right.
Now, also I see some other things in this leaf. Will they be a problem? We have a few little bug bites, snail bites, and this right here where we're losing the chlorophyll and it's starting to die out. Is any of that going to affect the perfection of the leaf casting?
Actually not. When you're done, this won't even show. Actually, to fix this little problem, you just take another leaf of any kind and place underneath where these two holes occur, and you're done.
How's this going to work for me?
Oh, that's a perfect leaf for this project. Beautiful shape. The leaf itself is in good shape with the exception of that tiny little hole, and we can fix that with no problem. When you turn this leaf over, you see that the veination is extremely defined. The veins are really deep. This would be perfect because it's going to show up. All right, the first thing we want to do, let me tell you the materials you'll need to complete this project. You're going to need a bag of sand. You can use just play sand, any kind of sand. The play sand is a little less coarse than the construction grade sand, so I opt for the play sand. You're also going to need a bag of premixed concrete. Also, you can use any kind of concrete. Some of the concrete has a little more aggregate included in it. This particular specimen here had a lot of aggregate in it, so you can just see the little bitty pebble grains of rock that are in that.
And this was, you used which product with this?
I used just regular Quickcrete concrete.
Okay.
Okay? But what we're going to use for this is called vinyl patch. And I've come to like vinyl patch for these leaf projects because the texture is a little bit finer of the concrete, doesn't have as much aggregate in it, and it gives you a much more smooth texture on your leaf so that the definition shows up.
I would think there's something substantial there with the vinyl to bind it together and keep it won't break as easily.
Right. It'll last in your yard a little bit longer too, so that's another good.
Tell me what to do now.
Okay. We're going to mix this pre-mixed concrete. All you have to do is mix it with water. Okay. And we have your water right here. Okay. You're going to mix that with water. You're going to need a trowel for this project. If you don't have a trowel, you can use an old metal spoon.
Okay. And am I going to start out with a cupful?
You're just going to start out with a little bit of water.
A little bit will do it.
Well, a cup probably for this is good.
Okay.
Half a cup
That's
to start
half
with.
A cup.
Just keep going. You want to stir that around real nicely.
That's about a cup.
And what you end up with, you're going to need a lot more than that, though.
Okay.
Annette, because what you're going to end up with is the consistency of a thick brownie mix.
How about a mud pie?
A mud pie. That'll work.
Okay, this is finished then.
This
okay,
is
now
done.
there's an important step coming next.
Okay, the next step is to put our sand in here. This is going to form the base to support your leaf, okay? So you just mound that up.
Can the mound be too high or too flat?
Well, it really can. It just depends on the size of your leaf. You want to have a good surface for that leaf and every part of that leaf to rest on.
Maybe if you say how much we want to cup the leaf.
Okay. Actually, that depends on the shape of your leaf because some leaves are already kind of cupped.
Right.
And have that shape to them. You want your sand to follow that shape.
Yes.
as much as possible.
Okay, looking at my elephant ear here.
Now for this elephant ear is practically flat. Okay? But if you wanted to have kind of a concave shape like this leaf does when it's done,
You can manipulate that.
you can mound this sand up toward the middle just a little bit more and take your hand, just kind of smooth it out a little bit. And you can play around with this. You rest your leaf on there, and if that's kind of the shape you want it to be, and you see that the sides come down just a little bit, so there will be a little bit of a dip in the middle of that,
Yeah.
so that if you want it as a bird bath, it'll hold a little bit of water. Now what we're gonna do, you got a pretty long stem on this.
Okay.
So I'm gonna cut that off, okay?
Uh-huh.
And then you see here, it exposes that part of the leaf, because
Right.
we're gonna need to cover every bit of that with concrete.
All right. Now
Okay.
we're just going to put our hands in this.
All
aren't
right,
we?
now before
I'm
we
gonna
get
move
started,
this.
you might have sensitive skin, so I would put on a glove
It's a
to
what you
apply
call
this
abrasive,
concrete.
and it's active is the word. So we don't want.
Now we don't want to forget this step. Gonna
Oh.
brush off that little bit of sand that got on there, and we're gonna take some plastic wrap, just your plain old kitchen plastic wrap,
Well, now
and lay over that.
We see it's not as
Now
wide as
let's
the
pull
leaf.
that over just a little bit, because we want the edges of
So
the
we
leaf to be
can-
covered.
Double layer it then.
And the reason we do that is because we don't want the concrete to spill over to the side
Oh,
of
it'd
the
be
leaf.
rough, wouldn't it?
Okay? It would.
Well,
Okay?
okay, got that.
Okay? Now that'll make that leaf, we want this to spread out real evenly, because we don't want these little parts to interfere with our venation in that leaf. Okay? This plastic is also going to help you remove this leaf when it's done.
Oh, we got a step to go, don't we?
Okay? We got a step to go.
Okay, now, so what we're going to do is evenly start in the center, at the top, or just start
You
plopping?
can start right in the middle,
Okay.
come all the way around, and then you evenly bring it out
We're
to the
going
sides.
to roll it like a rolling pin.
Now you don't want it to go any further than the outer shape of your leaf.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, let me just give you what to work with, and you start working it.
All right. Now see, we're going right
Now,
over to the edge.
Let me ask you this question. Is it important that the thickness be the same all the way through, or does that matter? Do you take a little toothpick and test it, or?
Well, I don't think you have to necessarily do that.
It's not
you can
an
pretty
exact
much
thing.
It's not an exact thing, and you can't really do it a wrong way. You just want to
That's a
make
good
sure
project.
that you got a pretty good thickness in here where you've got this little concave or deeper area. You want to make it a little bit thicker in there, and you want your edges to be thinner. You don't want any more than about 1/4 of an inch on the edge of your leaf.
What about that stem?
We're gonna just leave that stem like that, and that'll be easy. Once you're done, there'll be a little hole right here,
Okay.
which would be real good if you want to hang this.
So
Some people do that. This is a leaf that I've already done. I did this about 48 hours ago, and you need about that much time for it to cure before you can actually flip it over and remove the leaf from the bottom.
Well, I want to see.
So generally, if you have not made it thick enough, the place that you're going to have weakness is right along the edge, and a piece might break off. So you want to avoid that happening by supporting the leaf underneath the bottom. Just put your hand down in that sand, grab the middle of the leaf, give it some support on the back, and bam, just flip it over.
Oh,
Remove that, and you can see what we have.
it didn't even burn it
It
out.
didn't even burn it off.
Okay.
Now you can see where we did a little patch
Patchwork.
where there was a hole in this leaf. There was a tear. So you remove that.
Well, look at that. The veins are there
The veins
where
are
there were
there.
none.
But there are going to be.
Now, do
so
you ever-
here's what we do.
Did you ever use a wire brush on this? Now, you did take a little divot out of that.
Yes, ma'am, but that's okay.
You can put it back in there.
Because we can take this brush and we can keep working
Molding
it
it.
and working it until we give it more of
Yeah.
the shape we want. It's almost like a nail file.
I want to peel. This is
Okay.
kind of like peeling nail polish.
It is.
Let's
It
get in
is.
there. Well,
So you see what we have here?
yes.
It's beautiful. If you see any little residue of that leaf, like down in here where a little bit of the concrete kind of worked its way under there, you simply just take that brush and you work it.
Yes.
And you'll
Okay.
get down to where that leaf is and smooth out these edges.
Okay, so
And
here
you
are
end
your
up like this.
possibilities now.
Mhm.
I know that you've shown us that this can be simple.
Yes.
You used colored concrete.
I did.
And you can find those the powders to mix into them or
Yes,
buy them.
yes.
Because when I first started working in concrete projects, that wasn't out there.
Well, they have special dye just for concrete, can make it any color that you so desire.
Now you painted this one.
I did paint that one.
And did you use a special paint?
Well, here's what you use for these. This one was made to simulate a fall leaf because it has a couple of different colors in it. So I used kind of some gold and then some orange and red mixed in around the sides. What you want to use for this is more a color wash than actually using paint. So what you would do is take some acrylic paint, and you'll use about 3 drops of acrylic paint to 2 cups of water. Okay, so it's more like a wash. You have to let this one cure for over a week before you actually start painting or sealing this leaf.
It's still green.
Because it's still a little bit green.
Okay.
And we don't put it in a kiln or anything like that like we do pottery, so you just have to let it dry out and cure on its own for a week.
I want to get everything out of your brain I can.
Okay.
So this right here, did you do this with the brush? After you had done the coloring, you went back and added these darker colors for the veining?
Right.
Okay.
I put a little green in there for the veining so it would show up a little bit more, and it's done in layers. I did start with the green, and then I put the layer of the yellow, and then ended up with this reddish gold on the edges.
And did you put anything like a polyurethane or anything to seal it?
Okay. Now you can choose to seal this if you want to use it, especially for outdoor applications. You'll need to do that. And what you'll need for that is some of this Thompson's water seal.
Oh,
you can use either Thompson's water seal or dry lock.
Okay.
Okay, either one will work. For these smaller projects, I just use it in the can. It's much easier to manipulate, and I'm done real quickly. You want to do one coat, let that dry, wait about an hour, come back and do another coat, do the same thing on both sides, so you get full coverage. If you're doing really big leaves or several of them, you might as well go ahead and get a gallon of that and get your paintbrush and just paint it on.
So I thank you for showing us the possibilities of taking something we love this year was special, and next year it's even more special because you have it in your garden. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome, Annette. Enjoyed having you.
Thank you.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.